Mi nombre es Alexander Araya, soy el jefe de operaciones del Benemérito Cuerpo de Bomberos de Costa Rica. Están viendo Reported Condition.
On this week's Report on Conditions, we'll take a look at a multi-agency active shooter training in San Jacinto with the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. And we'll also cover a vehicle fire in Jurupa Valley and a third alarm residential structure fire in Indio.
Engine 1 with Report on Conditions.
Hey there, I'm Tara Fernandez, and thanks for joining us. We're getting this episode started in San Jacinto at a multi-agency active shooter training drill.
Over the course of 3 days, multiple agencies came together for an intensive active shooter training focused on coordination, response, and life-saving tactics. The Riverside County Sheriff's Office led 6 sessions that involved 25 deputies. Each session included 3 realistic scenarios split into 2 sections, designed to simulate active shooter incidents, violent encounters, and situations involving multiple victims down. Training took place at an elementary school in San Jacinto with strong interagency collaboration from CHP, Soboba Fire Department, AMR, RSO, and your CAL FIRE Riverside County Fire Department.
It's definitely an experience. Like it definitely opens up your point of view to like their side of it and like how stressful it is and like kind of more understanding about what would happen.
Each day, 8 fire engines staffed by 24 firefighters along with 2 battalion chiefs and 2 EMS personnel participated in the exercises. Fire crews focus on stopping the bleeding and stopping the dying, ensuring the proper use of life-saving devices, running medical mannequins, and observing the medical side of high-threat incidents.
It helps us learn that communication is key.
Crew safety remained a top priority with an emphasis on proper PPE usage and operating within secure zones during unified responses.
I was expecting definitely a lot of stress. I was expecting to be on the floor a lot, because I'm role-playing dead or injured.
This collaborative effort strengthened coordination between law enforcement and fire personnel, reinforcing a shared mission, protecting the public and delivering rapid, effective care during the most critical moments.
Let's dive into the department's call statistics from February 23rd through March 8th. During that time, firefighters responded to a total of 8,302 calls for service, of which 6,474 were medical emergencies and 172 were fire-related calls. Let's go see what some of those calls looked like. On the morning of Saturday, February 28th, dispatchers received reports of heavy dark smoke in the 3,600 block of Scenic Drive in the city of Jurupa Valley. The first arriving engine company found a single vehicle fully involved in fire with no threats to nearby structures. Within 6 minutes of arrival, Engine 18 had the flames extinguished and the fire contained. Crews remained on scene for about an hour performing overhaul. At around 12 p.m. on Monday, March 2nd, in the 28,700 block of Highway 74 West in Lake Elsinore, crews responded to reports of brush and trees on fire with smoke showing. The first arriving battalion chief reported a quarter acre of heavy vegetation on fire with a moderate rate of spread. Multiple buildings threatened and a semi-trailer partially involved. Additional resources were requested and firefighters were able to stop the forward rate of spread at 12:41 p.m. In the early afternoon on Tuesday, March 3rd, firefighters were called to reports of a commercial structure fire near the intersection of Paris Boulevard and Ramona Expressway in Paris. The first arriving unit reported light smoke showing, with evacuations already underway.
We received a 911 call for a grease fire near the grill at the restaurant here. So our first arriving engine company reported light smoke showing with evacuations in progress. As they made access to the interior of the building, they saw that the fire had grown in size, had gotten into the attic, and that's when we requested additional equipment.
As a result of the fire, the building sustained significant damage. Paris's Building and Safety Department red-tagged the structure, which will remain closed pending further assessment and repairs. No injuries to civilians or firefighters were reported. At around 1 p.m. on Thursday, March 5th, firefighters were dispatched for reports of a residential structure fire at the 41,300 block of Marywood Drive in the unincorporated area of Hemet. The first arriving company officer reported a 2-car attached garage well involved with flames, with fire extending into the living space of the residence. Crews confirmed that all occupants had safely evacuated. One adult resident was displaced but declined assistance from the American Red Cross. Firefighters also rescued several cats and dogs from inside the structure. Riverside County Animal Services responded due to the number of animals needing care. Crews were able to contain the fire to the structure of origin, and multiple resources remained on scene for approximately 3 hours conducting salvage and overhaul. No firefighter or civilian injuries were reported. On the evening of Friday, March 6th, firefighters were dispatched to a reported fire in an outdoor fireplace that was connected to a residence in the 79,700 block of Avenue 40 near Jefferson Street in the city of Indio. The first arriving captain reported a large 5,000 square foot residential structure with a confirmed working fire burning in the attic space. Upon arrival, the battalion chief quickly upgraded the response to a second alarm and then a third alarm due to the amount of fire and the size of the residence. In total, 17 engines, 2 truck companies, 1 medic unit, 2 water tenders, a breathing support unit, and 74 personnel were assigned to the incident. Firefighters were challenged by large vaulted ceilings and a limited water source on site. At the time of the incident, the structure was being used as a short-term rental with 16 adult tenants staying at the property. The American Red Cross was notified and responded to assist those displaced. Crews remained on scene for nearly 10 hours conducting extensive overhaul. No civilian or firefighter injuries were reported. On Sunday, March 8th, firefighters responded to reports of black smoke and flames at Las Casitas Mobile Home Park in the 300 block of West 7th Street in San Jacinto. Upon arrival, Engine 25 reported a single-wide mobile home well involved in fire with multiple exposures threatened. Fortunately, all occupants were safely evacuated from the affected residences. Firefighters were able to contain the fire to the structure of origin with radiant heat damage reported to 1 additional structure. 2 adults were displaced and declined assistance from the American Red Cross. 1 civilian was treated on scene for a minor medical complaint, but declined further treatment or hospital transport. Crews remained on scene for approximately 2 hours conducting salvage and overhaul.
Hi, my name is Sam Wilson, firefighter paramedic at Station 105 in the city of Paris. And my favorite tool is the drip torch. The drip torch is a metal can that we fill with a mixture of diesel and gasoline, and we're going to use this to burn off excess vegetation and start backfires when we need to be able to control the fire. And we're able to drop fuel on the ground to be able to start different fires. So if we are starting controlled burns where we're burning piles, we can start off the fires that way. Or if we're on an active vegetation fire, we can use this in a controlled area to light a backfire to burn into the main fire, so that we can do so safely to be able to put the fires out. So it'll drip faster or slower. You can control how much comes out by just tilting it a little bit more or less. We do have this loop here that prevents the fuel from burning and going back into the can, so it's not going to be dangerous for us. We had a fire at the Lake Paris State Recreation area, so we had fire coming down the hill, and I was able to start at the bottom of the hill and use the drip torch to make a line of fire so that it would go back up the hill rather than burning into the fields down below it. The fire will burn into itself and extinguish itself in a more controlled manner rather than being out of control where the fire can jump our control lines. This is one of my favorite tools because this is one of the only instances where we as firefighters get to use fire to our advantage. So we're able to start fires to be able to prevent a fire from getting worse and taking off. The drip torch is a standard complement for our patrols. So these are equipped on all the patrol units, especially this new rig that we have here at Patrol 105.
During a wildfire, combustible fences, particularly those attached to a structure, can serve as a direct pathway for fire to reach your home. Notice all the plants near this fence that catch on fire easily. If leaves and debris gather near the bottom of the fence, they can catch on fire from embers. Once ignited, these plants set the fence on fire, spreading it to anything nearby or attached to it. Help reduce ignition risk by replacing attached combustible fences or gates with a non-combustible option for the first 5 feet. Keep the fence clear of vegetative debris and remove any nearby combustibles. For more information, visit fire.ca.gov/home-hardening and readyforwildfire.org.
That's all for this week's Report on Conditions. Follow your firefighters in action on our social media at CalFireRRU and stay up to date on incidents happening countywide. If you caught any great footage of our firefighters at work or out in the community, send them to us at rrupio@fire.ca.gov. On behalf of your Public Affairs and Community Education Bureau, I'm Tara Fernandez. Thanks for watching.